Hey guys, this is Mrs. Hannum. Today we're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles. Our objective is to classify pairs of angles as complementary, supplementary, or neither. In the second part of our video, we're going to find angle measures using complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, so we're first going to start off with vocabulary. The first one says, two angles are blank when the sum of these measures is 90 degrees. That answer is complementary angles. So on your note sheet right now, copy down complementary angles in the blank. Okay, so if you look at our examples right now, you know that complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So let's look at the two angles in blue. We have one angle that's 30 degrees and another angle that's 60 degrees. So when I add these two up, I get a 90 degrees or a right angle. Now, one thing you want to know about complementary angles and supplementary angles, they don't need to be right next to each other or attached to one another. They can be just like they are in our first example in blue, and they also can look like our example in red. Now the angles are side by side. We have angle 1 and angle 2. And if you notice the box, I'm just going to take an arrow really quick. Okay, that's kind of a big arrow, but you get the point. If you notice, these two angles, 1 and 2, form a 90-degree angle. And we know that a right angle is equal to 90 degrees. So angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles. They are side by side. The other ones in blue are not side by side, but together their sum is 90 degrees, which is complementary angles. Notice here you must have two angles in order to be a complementary angle. Okay, the next vocab part says two angles are blank when the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. This here would be supplementary angles. Okay, so two angles are supplementary angles when the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. So looking at our two examples, example 1, we have two angles, one measuring 135 degrees and the other one being 45 degrees. Together, when I add those two up, I get 180 degrees. Two angles whose sum means to add, is 180 degrees are considered supplementary angles. Another way of looking at it is our example in green. We have two angles, 3 and angle 4. Together, those two angles make up 180 degrees, because if I took the sum of angle 3 and I took the sum of angle 4 and added those up, I would get a straight line or 180 degrees. So, one way to think of it, and it's always confusing for some people, they forget which one is equal to 180 degrees, which two angles are equal to 90. One way of looking at it, to help clarify anything, is think of the alphabet. C comes before S in the alphabet, 90 comes before 180. That's one way of looking at it. Or you can also do this. For complementary, we can use the letter C. When you make the letter C for complementary, you can also make it a 9, which means 90 degrees. For the letter S, for supplementary, you can go like this and say 180 degrees. So there you have it. Two angles are complementary angles when the sum of these measures is 90 degrees. I want you to notice that angles is plural, so you must have two angles, not just one. Two angles are supplementary angles when the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. So there you have it. Those are your two vocab words, complementary angles and supplementary angles. The next part is that we're going to find angle measures using complementary and supplementary angles. In this next part, we're going to be classifying pairs of angles. You need to tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. So what I would like you to do now is to copy down these two angles. One angle is 45 degrees and the other one is 135 degrees. So looking at our two angles, one angle being 45 degrees, the other one being 135 degrees, the sum of the two is equal to 180. So therefore the angles are supplementary. Please fill that in your note sheet now. Okay, let's look at our next two angles. We have one 41 degrees, and the next angle measures 49 degrees. Now, together, they add up to be 90 degrees. Two angle measures whose sum is equal to 90 is, if you guessed complementary, you're correct. Good job. So there you have it. These two angles are complementary because when you add them up, 41 and 49, you get 90 degrees. So go ahead and copy that angle down with the answer, and then we'll start part C. Okay, so part C looks like this. So we have that. Now you have to understand it's very hard to write with the pen that they give you. 62 degrees, and we have 128 degrees. So go ahead and copy that angle down. Okay, so when I take 128 plus 62 and I add those two up, I get an answer of 190 degrees. So looking at these two angles, 128 and 62, I get a sum of 190. Now that has nothing to do with a complementary or supplementary angle. So these two angles wind up being neither complementary, neither or supplementary. So there you have it. The angles are neither complementary or supplementary. Okay, this last part is called the you try section. Tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Good luck!